that folks could be in the same room, be from diverse backgrounds, and one group is not serving the other group dinner or something, was rethinking because of Brown.
We had our own integral communities.
I grew up in an all-black community. As far as I can remember, there was one white store owner in our neighborhood. Other than that, everybody that I came in contact with looked like me.
We had our theaters, our restaurants, our churches, our stores, our businesses, our schools. And in one sense, you didn't really know that you were being different.
I went to an all-black school. All of the teachers were black, the principal was black, and my church was a very large church right across the street, and the minister and all of the congregation were black.
I had to go past 2 white schools in order to go to Dunbar High School.
So that's basically what segregation looked like to me. It looked like I was a part of one community.
Except that there were certain things where you knew you couldn't go where they were white. For example, Washington, D.C., you could ride the public transportation with whites, but when you got to Virginia, you had to get off and go to the back of the bus or the streetcar.
There was one thing that I did notice, however. A streetcar went right in front of our house, and I would see people passing on the streetcar. I think I really didn't pay a lot of attention to that. We didn't ride the streetcar. It was later when I started hearing about black people having to sit in the back, but I never sat in the back because I never rode a streetcar. We were not allowed to ride public transportation because my parents did not allow us to ride public transportation.
You could not go to the theaters, not even to sit upstairs, but you could go to the department stores, and all of them except one you could actually try on clothes.
I also was not allowed, however, I realized later, to go into department stores to buy clothing. My mother made all my clothing, and they ordered my shoes. I'm pretty sure, in retrospect, that they felt it was very demeaning. Black people going in department stores had to use separate doors, couldn't try on anything, and were generally treated in a very demeaning fashion. And I assume they just decided not to participate.
My stepmother, who was a Southern black woman, who really knew her place so thoroughly, who really was scared to go downtown shopping. We as kids went out every place. We went to, we would go out on Sunday, go to the Village, down to the Paramount, we did everything. She only went to what I call black areas. She went shopping at 125th Street. But once we took her to 125th Street, there was nothing there that she could find. So we had to go down to 34th Street. Macy's. It was just Macy's. Everybody went to Macy's. But she went in and she started to shake because it was downtown, my brother. You got to hear what was going on in a country, not just with laws, but psychologically. My stepmother, who literally shook in front of this woman when she gave her the money, and the woman came back for this thing and threw the money on the counter, wouldn't touch her.
It does help to build character and stuff like that, but it also does, it kind of makes you want to shy away from people. It's kind of hard. There's certain stores that I won't go into because I'm worried that I won't get help, and little things like that. And it's stuff that you got with the character building, you do grow out of. But I do think that it's a little rough. It's a little hard to to relate to people when you've been treated a particular way. It's kind of hard not to think that all people aren't going to treat you that way, and that's something that you have to know for yourself, that all people aren't the same.
So those rights came in. Dred Scott says that a slave is a slave is a slave. Now let me introduce Plessy, because I can't just talk to you about Brown without laying the groundwork. Plessy gets on the train. He wants to stay in one car. They usher him to what is then known as the colored car. Plessy decided the car was not the same condition. And so he decided he wasn't going to go, got a fine, and so forth, took it all to the Supreme Court. This becomes important because the Supreme Court decided that it's all right to have separate facilities if they're equal. if they're equal. They can be separate facilities if they are equal. And that's what a doctrine that would dictate the creation of more of these codes throughout the South, but more importantly, will usher in what we call Jim Crow. And this is the quick 2-minute lesson on it.
The Brown case decision was the pivotal decision in racial matters in this country. Plessy Ferguson in 1896 had said separate and equal is okay, putting the imprimatur not on separate railroad cars, but on separate schools, separate hospitals, and separate everything. We fought that for years. The white Southerners would not respond to any federal legislation.
We have this time to share the writing that you all have been doing starting yesterday and into the night. So if anybody just wants to start out.
Oh, this is the one I wrote. Yesterday we had to look at quotes that people made and that people wrote. And we had to take things from the quotes or whatever and put them into our poem. And one of them, it was at the end of it, if you treat us like animals, that's how we're gonna act. And I started my poem off. If you treat us like animals, that's how we're gonna act.
They were ready to do their best, to be the best. They were ready to give it their all. But
these labels, IDs, assign exits according to grade, but
inferiority stepped in, made them feel a deep pain within.
we still account for 86% of the level 2.
As if to say to be used to commit a heinous sin. Inferiority effects.
Well, I think social justice is a very basic concept, and that other than shelter and housing and water and food, that people have the basic emotional needs. Everyone wants respect and love are pretty much the two big ones. And arts are, in the best sense, very human. So it seems like there could be a very strong connection between the two. Most great art comes out of strong emotion, often pain, and a lack of social justice often causes pain. So there seems to be a pretty strong link.
6, 7, 1, 2, and then let's make a box like I give up on the third beat. Okay? 5, 6, 7. We'll go 1, 2. I give up. Again. 1, 2. I give up. And 1, 2. I give up. This side you go. Again.
So much of the division between artistic disciplines is largely artificial, and it's really hard to bring them back together in our heads. So in thinking about it to a certain extent, try to almost do both things in your head at the same time. Like when you're dancing, write when you're writing, dance. You know what I mean? And because you're accomplishing it, so go for it at times. You know?
1, 2, 5, 6, 7, and so it's on the repeat. We'll put the arms behind the back. This side, 1, 2. Just I give up. Boom, bop, and I give up. Busted.
I inherited an inequality that makes my books filled with motherfucker and bitch. Well, if you ever speak of the words close to them, their eyes shudder with ignorance and reply with a simple, "You people can speak that way. I was brought up better, yet I inherited inequality."
I know, in my textbooks, there's nothing but cussing in the textbooks, all that cursing. So I thought it was really cool that you brought that up. That's so real because it happens.
Question, I don't understand. What do you mean in your textbooks there's nothing but cursing?
Oh no, in terms of kids, the older books,
okay.
there's curses and sometimes you see people writing notes.
Yeah,
they curse
yeah,
and just it's just ridiculous.
Oh,
Yeah, that's exactly what I was doing.
There's a scene in Catcher in the Rye. Has anyone read that?
Yeah.
And he talks about how like you can't